Hey, everybody. I wanted to come back just really quick and do an update on this particular story that we have been following. There has, we also covered the whole Casey Cole White and Vicky White, Tricky Vicky, their run from the law, like they were Bonnie and Clyde. And something very terrifying has happened in the search for Gonzalo Lopez. Gonzalo Lopez is that Texas fugitive who managed to escape. He's been on the run. He had actually been convicted of murder. He was already serving a lifetime term in prison. But here's the thing: he hacked one of the murders he committed was someone he had took hostage, and he literally hacked the person to death with a pickaxe. Oh, they did, Nisi? They did, because basically 5 new murders has happened. There's 5 new murders that police are saying is attributed to Gonzalo Lopez. So, just really quick, Gonzalo Lopez, he literally killed one of his hostages with a pickaxe. I think it sort of reminds me of that scene in Breaking Bad with those 2 Mexican killers and how they were walking around with an axe. And okay, so man, I guess I'm going to have to change the title. So Gonzalo Lopez has actually been captured now, it looks like, in Centerville, Texas. Hold on, y'all. This is kind of happening fast. Let's see here. Yeah, they got him. So Gonzalo Lopez has been captured, been on the run, we know, since May the 12th, but he is believed to have murdered 2 adults and 3 children in Centerville, Texas. And this is since he escaped, since he actually escaped. Hold on a sec. Let's just check this out for a second.
At approximately 6 p.m., law enforcement officers responded to a residence on Highway 7 and discovered 5 bodies inside the residence, 2 adults and 3 children. Missing from the residence is a 1999 white Chevy Silverado, license plate number DPV 4520. And we do believe at this time that the prime suspect is Gonzalo Lopez. Lopez may be driving this vehicle, and so we ask the public to be on the lookout. Again, it's a white 1999 single cab silver or white Silverado that has damage on the driver's side. And it's also believed that Lopez may be armed. So should you see this vehicle, we ask that you call local law enforcement. Please know that this remains a very active investigation. In fact, the crime scene is still being processed at this time by both Leon County and DPS. But please know that we will not rest until Gonzalo Lopez is in custody. A massive manhunt is underway by local, state, and federal officials to track his movements and bring him into custody. Please know that he cannot run forever. And I would urge Lopez to give up at this time, because he will be brought to justice and he will be brought into custody.
Wow, man.
At this time, I'm going to take...
Wow. So I don't know if there's like any streams running, but listen to Gonzalo Lopez's resume, his pedigree, okay? He's been convicted of aggravated assault, but the charges, capital murder, attempted capital murder, aggravated assault against a public servant, aggravated assault that causes serious bodily injury, aggravated kidnapping, unauthorized use of a motor vehicle, just evading arrest, escape while arrested. But here's what is very interesting that Texas authorities have regarding Gonzalo is that he is affiliated to the Mexican mafia. And that was like the first thing I thought of when I heard that this family, whomever this family is in Centerville, Texas, was that was killed, his second round of murders, because again, he was already facing serious criminal charges and sentencing from hacking someone to death with a pickaxe. Very brutal. Oh, very brutal. Remember that Gonzalo Lopez had escaped. Again, Texas Department of Corrections. He somehow managed to escape during a transport. There's no telling how long he'd been holed up in that house. Who knows? More details, I'm sure, will come out. But, well, that was probably the quickest turnaround that I've seen in a while. If he didn't kill those people, he would still not have been caught. Yeah, thank you, Miss Kirsten. Yeah, it's true. They got him. This is actually in Fox 4 News right now. This is KDFW. This is Dallas's. Let me see if I can find any sort of like running stream that. It's saying that he's captured, but let me just check another news source here. Yeah, he's been captured. So there'll probably be like another press conference if they haven't started already, because this was updated like 15 minutes ago. So yes, in Centerville, Texas, it looks like he was captured in Centerville, Texas, the same area where these 5 members of a family were found dead. So it's June the 2nd. Gonzalo has been on the run since May the 12th. He was suspected of stealing a vehicle that was located in the San Antonio area. And in a law enforcement interaction took place. And somehow that led to his discovery. So this family that was found dead, I guess they were from Houston. They were at their weekend home in Centerville. Relative was concerned after not hearing from them. I mean, this is a horrible, horrible outcome. It's like he managed to escape, first of all, which is absolutely insane and crazy in the first place, but he still managed to escape, and he killed 5 members of a family. It's really messed up. But he's been captured alive, nonetheless,
significant amount
right?
of media coverage throughout the area. We have a command post that is set up nearby. We have more than 40 roving officers in and around this area, to include also evidence tapes that's placed on residents as they're cleared. So, again, TDCJ has continued to search this area, search for Lopez. We did not
They've
have
been on
evidence that
horseback
brought
searching
him
for
out of this
Gonzalo,
area, and so that's why we
Gonzalo
remained,
Lopez.
and that's why we continue to search.
Texas Rangers have been on horseback looking for him.
No, it had been cleared multiple times, and so we think that he was in that residence recently.
So how was he able to evade 40 officers?
I won't get into those details, but obviously he was able to stay within the woods, get into residents to get water and food, and possibly change his clothing.
He's been missing since May 12th. What is your agency's course of action?
Right, the course of action right now is to continue the search. So again, we'll leave no stone unturned, and we continue to search for Lopez. This is not just a TDCJ search. This is a local,
Hold that
state,
thought. We
and
got a
federal search.
fresh one
Fortunately,
here.
no law
Across the-
enforcement
Hold that
officers
thought.
were struck. It's my understanding he fired several rounds at officers and was armed with an AR-15 and a pistol, and I believe multiple officers killing him. I don't know exactly. I know it happened in Atascosa County.
Wow, that
And,
just changed
I believe
really
the name
quick.
of the
Not
town
only
is
was he
Jerdyton.
captured, he's
It could
dead.
be a mispronunciation.
So he's been
by me,
killed.
but it's in
And with the
Atascosa
police-
County, and that's where the ultimately Jerdyton, is that correct? Is where ultimately the interaction took place. Spotted
his shackles, finding his way into the front of a prison bus and stabbing the driver in the hand, which is when he took control of the bus, authorities said. Sarah Wilson gave us a live report earlier tonight over in Centerville, and they had an original press conference in Centerville then. Gonzalo Lopez is in jail for attempted murder, and he does have some ties with the Mexican mafia. As I'll continue to update you guys as we wait for that press conference to start. He has been, according to the Leon County Sheriff's Office, captured in... Okay, and I'm hearing that we will be able to take it live. The press conference has started. Here's Jason Clark from TDGC's Chief of Staff.
This is what we know. So, just a few minutes ago, Lopez was spotted driving that Chevy Silverado pickup. That information had gone out across Texas, and it was actually law enforcement in Atascosa County that spotted Gonzalo Lopez driving that Chevy Silverado. At that time, they trailed Gonzalo, and then ultimately the tires were spiked on that vehicle. After a short chase and a crash, Gonzalo Lopez exited the Chevy Silverado with a firearm and engaged law enforcement officers who engaged back and ultimately killed Lopez. Again, Gonzalo Lopez has been captured and he is deceased. Any other questions?
What time did this happen at?
We believe that this happened probably about 30 minutes ago or so.
Any law enforcement officers? No?
Fortunately, no law enforcement officers were struck. It's my understanding he fired several rounds at officers and was armed with an AR-15 and a pistol, and I believe multiple officers engaged Lopez, ultimately shooting and killing him.
What was the law enforcement agency?
I don't know exactly. I know it happened in Atascosa County, and I believe the name of the town is Jerdyton. That could be a mispronunciation by me, but it's in Atascosa County, and that's where the ultimately Jerdyton, is that correct? Is where ultimately the interaction took place.
Do you
Where
have
do you
any
believe he got
information
the
on-
AR-15 from?
It's an assumption at this point, but given that he was in the vehicle that was taken from this residence, it's likely that those firearms came from this residence. The actual shootout, it's my understanding that it did happen in a residential area, that after crashing, I believe, into a tree, Lopez exited out of the vehicle, only made it a short amount of distance before he decided to engage officers. And thankfully for the swift action of those officers, they were able to take Lopez into custody.
Do you know yet, like, how it kind of originated?
I know that a bolo went out across the state and so they were certainly cognizant of South Texas and the San Antonio area because he had previous contacts in that area. And it's our understanding that law enforcement spotted that vehicle on a roadway, and the license plate matched the Bolo, and so that's when they began to tail Lopez in that vehicle. Ultimately, that vehicle was spiked after a short chase in which Lopez crashed out and decided to engage law enforcement officers, and those officers very swiftly shot and killed Lopez, bringing this whole ordeal to an end.
What weapons did he fire? I know he had multiple weapons, but did he use all of them?
I don't know specifically what weapons he used, but I do know that he was armed with a rifle and a handgun.
When does the investigation go from here now that he's deceased?
Sure, so it's something that the Texas Rangers will be leading up that investigation along with our Office of Inspector General, who will be closely involved in that investigation.
And were you guys able to find any of the clothes here between now and when he left with us?
I can tell you that they're still at the scene at this moment. So Lopez is deceased. Law enforcement is there. They're processing that scene as we speak, and so there's some information that I just don't have at the moment. I do want to take a moment, though, and really thank law enforcement. Leon County Sheriff has been extraordinary and continues to be. Our partners at DPS, the Office of Inspector General, U.S. Marshals, just so many different law enforcement agencies contributed to this, and just very thankful for all of the support that they have provided. And I'm thankful that this came to a resolution in which Lopez did not harm anyone else.
As a leader, what's your reaction that this man is off the streets?
I can just tell you that we are very saddened that the murders happened, but I will tell you that we are breathing a sigh of relief that Lopez will not be able to hurt anyone else.
Will CJ be adjusting their protocols to ensure that nothing like this happens again?
As I said earlier, we will conduct a serious incident review. Anytime you have something serious like this, it's incumbent upon us to go backwards to figure out how did he escape? How did he beat our security protocols in order to leave that transport vehicle? And so that's something that we absolutely will be doing. We will uncover how he did it and then make any adjustments that are necessary.
He's obviously not your typical dangerous inmate because, I mean, he was able to do it like years ago, right? I mean, there's something about him, right, that makes him very unique when it comes to this situation.
Absolutely. Gonzalo Lopez had a history of trying to elude law enforcement. And so we knew from his records that previously he had stayed out in the wilderness for quite some time. And so that's why we remained in this area, because we did not have evidence that put him out of this area. I will tell you that obviously U.S. Marshals and Texas Rangers and our Office of Inspector General were closely monitoring any contacts that he had ever had in the free world to see if he had contacted them, reached out to them. And that was very unsuccessful. And so we still had a thought that he could be in this area, and that's why we continue to have a presence in this area. And it wasn't until this afternoon that it became clear that he remained in this area.
Jason, did the victims, I didn't say right, did the victims walk in on Lopez?
Frankly, it's just too early to tell. We do believe that the victims were there today. It's unclear whether Lopez was already there or was casing the structure and just waiting for someone to come in.
What's the feeling now that this is over? You know, it was an exhaustive search for a few weeks there. Are you guys relieved? Just kind of, what's that feeling?
I will just, again, it is. I will say that this is an absolute tragedy. The fact that 4 individuals, I would say that this is a tragedy that you had 5 individuals who lost their lives. And so I am thankful that tonight Gonzalo Lopez is unable to harm anyone else.
Do you know
Yes, Gonzalo Lopez has been captured. He has been killed in a police shootout. So we were just checking out the press conference, the presser, just to see if there was any, additional
Sure.
details or
You know, as I
whatnot. But the really messed up thing here is that there is now 5 members of a family that have been murdered inside their weekend home. And this family happens to be from the Houston, Texas area. And they were in their weekend home in Centerville, Texas. And
Or
somehow,
forever.
somehow
Thank you.
authorities
Diaz,
found him.
who we believe is in Mexico, and that we'll continue to search for forever.
Wait a second. What did he say? Hold that
Something
thought.
I'd encourage you to talk to Leon County Sheriff. Obviously, this has happened in.
There's a
in
reason
their
why he was looking at that
jurisdiction. They're
camera
working
like that,
closely,
kind of strange. Hold on.
With DPS in order to process that crime scene. So I would expect that the sheriff likely would release that information and not TDCJ.
What are some things that TDCJ possibly learned, and could we see that you all move to the inmate who has been on the run for 11 years now and kind of exhaust the efforts that were on this one for Lopez to try to find that inmate?
I assume you're talking about Busto Diaz.
Yes, sir.
So, and I'll just speak to that. It's something that we don't ever stop. We don't rest. And even for Busto Diaz, who we believe is in Mexico, and that we'll continue to search for forever.
And listen, he ain't lying about that. Texas is very notorious. You've ever heard of the Texas Rangers? Yeah, they're very good at finding people, kind of like the marshals. But yes, Gonzalo Lopez has been captured, so to speak. He has been killed in a police shootout with authorities. So 5 people dead. We will see what comes out, as far as who these 5 people are. And I wonder if he had been in that particular, maybe, that weekend house where they found these 5 bodies. I wonder if that's where he's been hiding out at. There's no telling. He could have killed that family and hid out in their weekend home for weeks, for all anybody knows. He has been on the run since May the 12th. So, yeah, very horrible ending. Complete opposite type ending compared to what we've seen with Vicky White, who shot and killed herself. Anyways, guys, I will definitely keep you guys posted. Have a good rest of your night, everybody. Until next time.
And I believe multiple officers engaged Lopez, ultimately shooting and killing him.
What was the law enforcement agency?
I don't know exactly. I know it happened in Atascosa County, and I believe the name of the town is Journeyton.